The website is Roops to Go, and Selena Roberts is the founder CEO of the website. Used to work for the New York Times, Sports Illustrated senior writer, and I believe an Auburn graduate. And all of a sudden, we got an issue with Auburn here. Auburn's tainted title, Victims, Violations, and Vendettas for Glory. Selena joins us now. Did I get that right? Are you an Auburn grad?
I am an Auburn grad. I was talking to a friend of mine, and I said, when I was at Auburn, I was in journalism school there. Our professor, Jack Sims, used to say, don't be afraid to go in your backyard if you find some truth. And so, I guess I just took some good notes because that's what I've done, I suppose.
Okay, what did you find? Why now with this story?
Well, a couple of years ago, because I went to Auburn, I'm interested in stuff that comes out of there. A couple of years ago, there was the armed robbery, and I think at the time, I, like a lot of people, just read kind of what happened, and then over time, I just noticed that there were some different changes in that story and different changes in the witness testimony and stuff like that. And, I just went down to find out exactly what happened. I ended up talking to a lot of people, and it became a different kind of story. It became a story about a culture and about silencing people and about the interweaving between the community and the university and how powerful a university has become. And so I just talked to as many people as I could. Certainly talked to the McNeil family, who, they're scheduled for trial. Mike McNeil is scheduled for trial coming up next week. And I just decided that this was a bigger story than just a trial story and, developed some different angles to it.
Well, I've often said that if everybody is getting what they want, then you don't hear anything. There's no negative. All it takes is a disgruntled employee. We saw that Eric Murdoch at Rutgers, a disgruntled employee. Maybe it was an official who wasn't happy with Ed Rush in the Pac-12 controversy with Arizona. And now you have this. Are these just disgruntled former players who now have a vendetta against the school that did take care of them for the most part?
Well, I think that, disgruntled would sort of mean to a lot of people that they shouldn't say anything, that they feel anything that happened to them was wrong, that they should keep it quiet. And I think that that's what we've seen, Dan, a lot in these big institutions in small towns, is it's easy to silence everybody because the fear is so great. So when you do find people who are willing to step out and talk about some of the issues that they dealt with while at the university, I don't call it disgruntled. I just think they're being honest.
Who paid these players?
Well, according to the players, there were payments from coaches. I think a lot of times, when people say, I got paid at a university or university paid me, they think, maybe boosters, and sometimes that is the case. But sometimes it's just a coach with, cash on him, a coach with, some money on him that wants to help a player out. I think that we get very sort of, obsessed with the money, and you look at it as $400, in this case, not a swing amount in most people's lives. I think that, we obsess over that and we forget to ask, why is this the case? And does this system work? Obviously, it doesn't work.
You got kids who reportedly weren't eligible, but they somehow got grades changed to be able to play in the BCS title game. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. That's correct. And one player, again, McNeil, said that when he was there, it was that season, he was at risk of missing a game for that season because he did receive an F in a computer science class. And he did, go to the instructor. Nothing happened. The instructor stuck by it. But then when the counselor from the athletic department got involved, suddenly the grade was changed. And, other players said that they were in danger of missing players for the national championship game as well. So, I think that you drill down a little bit more, and I suppose that Auburn's going to have to look inside of itself and say, what is football worth to us? Is it worth losing our credibility as an educational institution?
Is the national championship in jeopardy?
The NCAA will ultimately determine that. I think what we've seen, Dan, over the years with the NCAA is a lot of inconsistency. I think what we've seen lately is a lot of internal dysfunction in that organization. So I'm not sure what they're going to do. I think they're unpredictable, and I think that's a big problem is that, the overlord to all these programs very often can't do their job.
Selena Roberts, the article is Auburn's Tainted Title, Victims, Violations, Vendettas for Glory, Roops to Go, ROOPSTIGO.com is the website. Where's Gene Chizik in this mess?
Well, I try to find Gene Chiswick throughout my reporting, and he did not, answer the calls, and he did not answer any messages left for him when I tried to talk to Auburn University, they shut down as well. So, I'll be interested to see exactly what his account of everything is too. But, certainly on behalf of the players, and this wouldn't be the first story to talk about, the culture that he instilled. Very, I think, he had a culture where he wanted certain things a certain way. And if you didn't play by that rule, you were out unless you were a star. So I think that, that kind of situation has been brought up before, but certainly he has a lot to answer to.
Cam Newton's name, does it appear anywhere?
Not in this story. I did not go down the Cam Newton road. I certainly, as you do with stories, you hear a lot of differing opinions on what happened there. But, he was not a part of the journey that I took, reporting the story. But, certainly if in the past it's been looked into, and I think the NCAA came away with, a non-issue. So, I don't know how well the NCAA does its job, but that's what they came away with when they looked into it.
But you chose not to go down that road, or your investigation did not lead to any of the paths to Cam Newton?
Yeah, my reporting did not lead to a direct path to Cam Newton, no.
All right, well, what's next with this story? The trial and then the fallout here? Some of the kids have said their quotes have been taken out of context.
Yeah, listen, it takes a lot of courage to put your name on something. And I think, as we've seen over the years, more and more stories have become very source-oriented because, in the social media fishbowl we live in, as soon as you say something, you're vilified. So, listen, if somebody distances themselves from the heat a little bit, I think it's understandable. But, I've stood by everything I've done, and those gentlemen have a right to say what they want to say now. But I know what they told me when I interviewed them.
Thank you, Selena. We appreciate you joining us.
All right. Thanks, Dan.
Selena Roberts, the website roopstogo.com. Former New York Times columnist, also Sports Illustrated.